I was caught in a Sharknado, man. That's where my head was all screwed up.
That's where we all are. We're all going to die in a Sharknado.
Dude, this celebration that you guys are going to be doing for the 10th anniversary, we need this because, I mean, I'm one of the guilty parties. I saw all of this on the flat screen. I've never experienced it on a big screen.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, too. It's, when we were talking 10-year, what do you do? And, one of the things I kind of begged the studio to do is, can we just recolor correct the movie? It always bothered me. Because whenever I've seen it projected on the theater screens before for like one-offs, and it looks really muddy. And then we go, well, let's just when we delivered it to TV 10 years ago, 4K wasn't a requirement, and we did shoot it in 4K. So let's remaster it. Let's up-res it to 4K. Let's fix some of the visual effects shots. Let's remix the sound. Let's give a whole new experience. And then it was like, what else do we have in the, the edit that we never used? And we didn't have a lot of deleted scenes, but there were moments that I wanted to have happen in that original movie that we didn't have time or money to finish. Like the Capitol Record Spire, I wanted a shark to kind of get impaled on it. And we shot a plate for it. We just ran out of time. So it's weird. It's like 10 years later, I get to finish the film. So, the first 6 movies were Twitter experiences, communal Twitter live tweet, and now it's a chance to go into theaters and have that communal theater experience in the theaters. And I think the perfect example is Barbie became a big event this summer, and it was a fun pop culture moment, and Sharknado 10 years ago. So now we have Barbie-nado. Go see Barbie, go see Sharknado, and just dress up as your favorite Barbie with a shark attached to your skull, and bleed out in the movie theater, and it should be a glorious experience. And the thing is, there's a whole new generation. There's people that know the movie. They're going to want to come and see what we did, but there's also a new generation that, like Rocky Horror, are aware of what Rocky Horror is, but you don't know what Rocky Horror is until you go into a theater. And it took me, many, many years before I ever experienced a midnight showing of that. And like, I get it, and this is absolutely glorious. And so I think that's going to be the thing, is that people think, oh, it's just this silly movie about sharks raining down. Wow. It's got to be nothing. And then you sit there and you watch it and you go, I can't believe what I'm watching, that someone actually made this crazy movie. And it doesn't stop. That's the thing that's incredible for our little low budget. The movie starts and it doesn't stop. You have 2 reprieves, once when they're in the car talking and once when they're in the hardware store, but everything in and around it. And we just amped it up. There's a scene in the parking lot where Finn shoots a shark, and other people are like, trying to hit sharks, but they didn't put the sharks in there. So now we built this up, and it's just more robust.
Wow!
And it looks like it's like George Lucas special edition, the Star Wars movies.
Oh my God! You're reading my mind. You're reading my mind, because I was going to ask you, do you feel like George Lucas right now?
Well, except that he had perfect movies. I mean, look, there were rough edges on those, but those were a generation of growing up on those 3 films that loved them, and so the special editions were kind of a stab in the heart for some people. But those special editions are what a whole new generation only know about. So, in our case, we could make our movie better. You can't make it worse. You can make it better with a special edition, because it's improving upon what's there, and it's not changing it to the point where, oh my God, this looks like Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, we don't have that kind of budget or money. It's still the same ridiculous, stupid movie that you remember from 10 years ago, but it's just remastered for a theatrical experience, so you can enjoy it and you can see it with clarity and hear the stuff. There's stuff I never heard before that I know we had baked into the original mix. Now that we've went in and remixed it for theaters, it's like, oh wow, I remember we did that. And it was just buried, because sometimes the TV mixes have to emphasize certain things. There's some background music that I had put in from a couple of friends that, first time I ever heard him in the bar, I guess it was very buried. And we went in, we did a lot of the original songs, including the Ballad of Sharknado for the first movie. We did about 5 or 6 of them. And so Robbie Rist, who's my writing partner with Quint, the band, we remixed those. And the first song in the film, Let It Ride, just never sounded great. And now it sounds, oh, wow, I actually like that song. And it's crisp and clean, and it's just robust.
See, to me, I look at it as being when it was on the flat screen, everything was compressed. There was everything that was just so put together. Now on that big screen, at least it's going to spread it apart, and I'm going to sit in the center of that theater, and I'm going to experience every speaker that's pointed at me.
Yeah, and our mixer Martin on this just went above and beyond, and there's just stuff that just by doing those little tweaks, and I can't emphasize enough how different this is going to be for people. It's going to be the Mandela effect.
Are you going to do this with all of the movies? Because I mean, we've experienced every one of them.
I think what we're going to try to do is make this a gigantic success. So everybody's going to go see this in the theater.
Yeah.
It's going to be overwhelmingly successful. And then we will get to do 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the same way.
Oh my God! There's going to be grown men that are going to walk in there with shark costumes on. I mean, they're going to come dressed up for this, just like the Barbie movie.
That's the dream. I know the fans will do that, and we have like a very, very hardcore fan base for these movies. I can't wait to see what. Like I said, we're noticing that there's a lot of these theaters that are sold out. Or close to sold out. So we know that the people are aware of it now. And again, I hope we can put a little happiness in people's lives this summer. Now, being in theater.
For listeners, they need to understand that there is a website where they can go to check out times, and that is Sharknado10th.com. Because I mean, like here in Charlotte, we already know where it's going to be. But what about somebody who's in Cincinnati and they're just hearing about this 10th anniversary?
Yeah, no, I think that the Sharknado 10th, we're on over 500 screens.
Nice.
And growing.
Man.
And again, that's one of those things. It's a little movie that could. It's a movie that doesn't know it can't do that. So the fact that we're able to get 500 screens, the fact that they allowed us to remaster it, the fact that it's it went from this TV movie to this pop cultural juggernaut. It still is amazing to me that we're talking about the movie 10 years later.
What's really cool about this, Anthony, is that in reality, the man cave is coming to the movie theater because a lot of these movie theaters now come with bars. And we're going to load up and go in there and watch that movie.
I can't wait to have an audience full of drunk people watching Sharknado, because maybe that's going to be the heightened experience. It's like, because you're sitting there going, yeah, it was a TV movie. I'm just going to watch it. And it's just going to be people talking for for an hour and a half. And then, what? What are they doing? He's shooting sharks out of the sky with a shotgun? What? Wait. Am I really that drunk? Am I seeing this? Is that guy killing a shark with a bar stool? Yeah.
Part of the fun of Sharknado were the guest stars. I mean, we would tune in, we'd look at the list going, you've got to be kidding me. They said yes to this? I've got to be there for it.
Well, that was what happened on 2 through 6. That became the big thing. But the first movie, I think the way it was structured, you had Ian Ziering, Tara Reid, and John Hurd,
yep,
who had never been in a movie like this for sci-fi. I mean, they were big gets. They were big stars for a movie. And I think that was part of the anchor on top of the ridiculousness of the title that kind of drew people to it, because it gave us a pedigree. It was, here's John Hurt. He was our first person, I think, that we got cast. And once John came, everybody else started lining up, because, he's an incredible actor. Rest in peace, that amazing man who has been in so many great movies, cult movie Chud, but also Home Alone, Big, Cutter's Way, an underrated indie movie from the early 80s. So to be in our film and to actually still, right before he passed away, he did an interview and he was still very proud of Sharknado and the fact that it took him away from just being the dad in Home Alone. So, I love the fact that that he was a part of that. But the cameos definitely added as we moved along. And I think the second movie started setting the precedence for, hey, we're going to have people play up to what they're known for. Robert Hayes, playing, our little homage to Airplane. Yeah. That was the turning point. Him and Judd Hirsch playing the taxi cab driver. Those two they really elevated part 2 and then gave us a template for what the other 4 movies were going to be in the franchise.
In a very creative way, didn't you reinvent monster movies on the screen?
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing that I think it's lost a lot of times is that we are one of the very rare, like 1% in the last probably 10 years, maybe a little bit longer, of a movie that isn't based on an existing IP or a book or a novel or a remake that became a pop cultural phenomenon. It's an original idea. Yeah, it's Sharknado and it's silly and ridiculous, but there's nothing that existed prior to this. So we got to create our own universe from start to finish. And it was, the Sharknado was our villain. It could do what we want it to do. And that's what makes it special because, there's no, it's like, well, in issue 42 of the comic book of Sharknado, they can't do this because blah, blah. No, it's like, hey, you know what? I think there's going to be a Russian nesting doll sequence where shark eats a shark, or he's going to go into space and fight sharks and then enter the Earth's atmosphere inside a shark and then punch a hole through the top of it. And then it's going to land when the parachute comes out. We got to do, we were untethered to anything. And then we blew through stories like nobody's business, starting with number 3. Number 3, we did a White House Down type movie. We did a amusement park disaster movie with Universal Orlando. We did a road trip movie and we did a space movie. That was Sharknado 3.
Yeah.
And so we were just we just basically said we'll write ourselves into a corner and then write ourselves out. And at least with the last 2 movies, we knew we were probably going to end on the 6th movie. So we kind of baked a lot of stuff into the 5th and 6th film, so we could build up to what I wanted to do for the ending. So we always knew time travel would be the 6th film.
Listeners don't see that you've got a Goo Goo Dolls t-shirt on. Dude, you got to do another Sharknado and get Johnny Resnick to star in it or even play on it, because Johnny Resnick is just the ultimate coolest dude.
He is so cool. I got to meet them last year, and I got to watch them perform in Los Angeles. And look, if Johnny could do a version of Ballad of Sharknado, the theme song that we wrote for the first movie, I would be in absolute heaven, because that is a total Johnny song. So we need to lobby Goo Goo Dolls to do Ballad of Sharknado as a cover. So if anybody has any contacts with Johnny, I love your band. Been a fan since Hold Me Up.
Yep.
I think is one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time. Please cover our song and do a big fan solid.
He's always been a fan favorite in me, and the reason why is because the thing that Johnny woke me up on, we got on the subject of what writer's block is, and I'm sure that you as a writer and a creator, you've gone through that as well. And he says there's no such thing as writer's block. You're just telling yourself that everything sucks. Well, stop telling yourself that everything sucks, and you'll never have another block again.
Well, Sharknado, we didn't have time to have writer's block. We had like 3 weeks to make these movies and 6 months to deliver them. So it's just unfettered imagination. And in the songs came, we've got a catalog now of over 65 songs that we've done for all my films. And when Robbie and I would get together and post, we'd have stuff to write to. It's like, well, we need to write a song about this, so we need something like this. We originally started off Ballad of being we wanted to write a rock opera, and so we started writing this theme song, this first part of it. I go, kind of Ramonesy, kind of go, run away from the Sharknado. It's your greatest fo, don't want to get eaten by a Sharknado. and we finished that in about 20 minutes, and we're like, I think we're done. This is too good. It's just it just has things like Hammerhead's one scary guy, Mako's gonna make you cry, Thresher bites, bye. It's just like how can you top it? But then we still had this this Don Quixote thing of we're gonna still do a rock opera. So every movie we tried writing one, and nothing was as good as that until the 4th movie. I came up with the line, Armageddon, come and get it. The world ain't gonna end unless I say so. And then we go, okay, now we can do our rock opera. And once we figured out it didn't need to be Sharknado and you didn't have to say it in it, and we threw in Jim Steinman and Queen and Beach Boys and Pink Floyd, and it's just this mashup of those epic rock operas. And Robbie risked who's my writing partner and producer on these things, he just nailed it. It's such a crazy, deliciously ridiculous song. So, the movie's extended life to the songwriting career a little bit.
The time limit that you gave yourself in order to make each one of these films possible. I mean, were the offices and the studios, was it controlled chaos? Because it seems like everything would be moving all at once, but yet you were focused on the finished product.
Well, I mean, when you're shooting it, it's like, again, you don't have time to think. A studio has a big studio movie. You have about 2 years. You have about 100 days. And so, you have time and the luxury, and you can just go in and, okay, we got 2 pages to do. We usually had 10, 12 pages. So, the gun goes off at, 7 a.m. in the morning, and you have 12 hours to shoot so much stuff. And so that's part of the energy. I always say this, it's the energy of desperation. You have little time, but there's an energy to it that organicness that added to the energy of the film. The 5th movie we filmed abroad. We filmed Italy, England, Australia, Bulgaria, and it was kind of crazy. But we went to Italy and they were showing us different fountains, and we kept going, why can't we shoot at Trevi Fountain? And then they would go, well, because there are people there. It's like, well, when are the people not there? And they go, well, 6 a.m. on Sunday. When do they show up? 8 a.m. on Sunday. Well, then we could shoot a scene in 2 hours. And go, you can't shoot a scene in 2 hours. Yes, we can. And so what do? We filmed at 6 a.m. We shot all of our wides. By the time we finished at 8, people were starting to fill in, and we got a scene, and we got to film at Trevi Fountain. So that's, I think, the thing is these things start, and you just got to go. And it's almost subconscious filmmaking, because you're managing the circus, and especially in the later movies, every day we would have a new cameo, and the night before, this person's going to be in the movie, and you'd get these pages, and it wouldn't just be a line for them. They'd write 3 or 4 or 5 pages, and then I'd have to rewrite them either that night or the morning of. On the 6th movie, I'm in Romania, and they give me these pages for this sequence, and I'm like, none of this works for what it is, and I literally had to dictate to someone back in LA, this is what needs to be written. And then I get the pages and I give them to the people on set, our actors, and then I'm rewriting it on set too. So the movie taught me a lot about kind of rewriting on the fly, because you come out to set and go, I need to have this, and then go, okay, we don't have that. So what do we have? Well, we have a dump truck and we have 1 stunt person, and we don't have, 10. Okay, so we're going to do this. So there's a lot of imagination about working with what you have in the moment. And I think that's, again, what the charm of Sharknado is.
Wow. Anthony, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, Sharknado10th.com. That's where you can find out what theaters are going to be playing the movie remastered in theaters. It's going to be an amazing experience. Do a Barbie NATO thing. Go see Barbie. Go see Sharknado. Have an amazing experience. And let's make it so we can have more of these remasters in the future.
Absolutely. Be brilliant today. Okay, sir?
Thank you.